Are you ready to unlock your full potential? Motivational speaker, the comeback coach, and goal crusher Joe Rivera brings you inspiring leaders, incredible stories, and valuable lessons on how you can change, grow, and reforge your life. Now, here's your host, Joe Rivera.
What's up, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Reforge Your Life show. I'm your host, Joe Rivera, and here at the Reforge Your Life show, we love to show you that the comeback is more than possible. And today, I'm honored to bring my guest to the stage. Y'all are going to love her energy. Her story is incredible. She's a business growth coach. She's the founder of Shift to Success. Michele Kehrer, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here, Joe. You also totally inspiring.
Man, I'm honored again to bring you onto the show, and thanks for the compliment. And I've heard your story. It's incredible. There's no way that I could tell that story as good as you can. I'm not qualified to, so I'd love for you to share your story with the audience.
Okay, cool. Well, it's been a journey.
Wait.
Yeah, like the short version, I've been an entrepreneur for over 30 years. I've bought and sold businesses, done all that. But the real deal is during all of that, I was diagnosed and beat cancer 4 times, which was crazy. Every single time came in with its own set of challenges, its own mindset shifts that needed to happen, or, going to the dark night of the soul and beyond, and happy to share any of and all of it with you. Where would you like me to start?
Yeah, so let's go. We got to start with the dark before we get to the light. So let's talk about those dark times. But I'm curious, was it what type of cancer was it? Was it the same cancer each time? Was it different? What did that look like?
Yeah, so it started out as breast cancer. And I was young. I was only 35 at the time. And I felt the lump myself. And I went to the doctor, and she did not like seeing my name on her schedule, because anything that I could fix myself, right? I'm an athletic trainer, I'm a physical therapist, so I'm able to navigate a body really well. So when I showed her, she was like, oh my gosh, her heart sunk, my heart sunk. We started the diagnostic testing, and they're like, yep, you have breast cancer, stage 2B. And I've always joked that I'm like rainbow bright with unicorns and rainbows coming out of my butt. So I was like, no big deal. Like, cancer's not contagious. Let's do this. My business had only just turned a year old. So I had my surgeries and then went through chemo. And of course, with that, back then you lost your hair, and I was not talented enough to wear a wig. Like, I put it on, it was itchy and hot and crooked. And so I just went into the world bald. Like, I would shave my head every morning and go to work. I'd have to market to doctors because, again, my business was only a year old. And I just walk in bald. And they would say things like, oh, let us know when you're busy, when you're better. I'm like, no, if you wait until I'm better, I won't have a business to fix your patients. So send them to me right now. I'm going to help them. Give me your hardest case. It's all good. And so I did that. And I spoke at, I had some friends that ran charities, Immerman Angels, Bright Pink. They were amazing organizations that truly helped young people in cancer. They of course help everyone, but like the focus for me was, I'm like, I didn't know anyone my age that had cancer. Everyone that I knew had died. So being around people that had not just going through it, but had survived and thrived was so inspiring. So I just was out there, and I was like, this is great. I'd talk and go to the fundraisers, and it was great. It was really a lot of fun, and I made it through. I mean, certainly there was a million tough times. In chemo, 2 of the 4 times, I went into full anaphylactic shock and stopped breathing, which was just wild. But when that happened,
Going into?
what's that?
What kind of shock was it that you said you went through?
Anaphylactic shock, where you have an allergic reaction. So I had an allergic reaction to the drugs. And it felt like my whole lungs were collapsed. My throat was collapsed and I had stopped breathing.
Wow.
So, but made it through, and I did it in a way that I was like, purely me. On the other side of it, I'm like, all right, I'm good. I have less than a 1% chance I can get cancer again. I'm great. And unfortunately, 8 months later, I found another lump. And this was stage 4 cancer. And there's not a stage 5. And in that, Joe, I really sat and was like, is this bigger than me? Am I going to make it through this? And I went inward. I became much less willing to talk about it. And I felt like that second time was a journey with God and I on what's my worth? What's my value? What was I put on this earth to do? I kind of came to the conclusion, like, if I'm going to do great things, I need some street cred. And cancer a couple times is going to give me some street cred. But I was, again, much more quiet about it, did a lot more research about it, and ended up this now is 2009, had radiation almost the entire summer. And it was a different kind of tired. Like, chemotherapy was one thing, but radiation was just really hard. Like, I just felt tired all the time. And I still had to work. I still had to, get up, see patients. So I would get up, be to the office at 7:00 in the morning, work till 3, go to radiation, have my radiation treatment, and then drive home. And repeat that every single day for 33 times. And in the beginning it was fine, but at the end, it was too hard to even get out of my car. It was just, I just knew what was going to happen was going to be hard. On the other side, it was going to be hard. And so I would call friends to come meet me at the parking lot and walk me in, because I didn't have the strength to walk in and go through that alone. And that was pretty rough. And then the other side of that, though, it was like 2010. And I was like, I don't know what just happened over the past 2 years of my life. So I was like, this is, amazing. I'm going to Italy. I'm going to do great things. It was a lot of fun. And I went 12 years with being cancer free, like 12 years, living life, being bold, still out there, like being a light and growing my physical therapy business and just having an absolute blast. And I had finally gotten to the point of like, okay, I think I'm on the other side of this. Wow. 12 years, like they're like at 10 years, you're considered a success story and you're going to be good. And it was 2021. And I just started being really tired and then not feeling good. I had a cough, but it was wintertime. It was February, March. And I don't know if you recall 2020, there was this whole virus incident that really took down the world in a special way. I was just, so I figured, I'm just tired because of that. I was working 90 hours a week to make sure I could see patients, have my business, all that. And then I went to my doctor and she's like, well, let's run some tests. And Joe, I tell you what, by the time we got through all those tests, I was a shell of myself. I couldn't get up and walk across the room. The cancer had taken over my lung, my lymph nodes. It was in my bones, my shoulder, my back, my spine, and both of my leg bones. And I was so bad off, I couldn't breathe. Again, if I stood up and walked across, like from the living room to the kitchen, you would have thought I would have done a 400-meter sprint. Like, I could not breathe. And when I found out where the cancer was, that it was everywhere, I truly did not think I would see 2022. It was tough. And I didn't know where to turn and what to do. I didn't know anyone that had ever survived cancer with cancer that had spread everywhere throughout their body. Um, and I mean, thank goodness my business was doing well because I couldn't physically be there and I had a wonderful team that could manage it. So I did the only thing. I'm like, I have to get my affairs in order, put things in trust, make sure the business was handled, do all of that stuff because I mean, not hyperbole, I really didn't think I would see 2022. And I went through some really intensive treatment and I really had to get very, very quiet because at that point, I I had to dig deep to really think about why I'm here and what am I about and where am I going to go if I get to the other side of this. If I'm lucky enough to have another day healthy, what am I going to do with it? And I realized I'm like, I don't want to have my business anymore. I need to sell it. I'm supposed to be out having a bigger impact in the world. And so I quietly got my business in order to put it up for sale, was lucky enough to have 20 different companies interested in it. And it closed and I made it to 2022 and I sold it the end of June in 2022. Which was so interesting because I'm like, I should be on top of the world because like I had a sale, I'm healthy-ish, and like there's nothing else for me to do. But the problem with that, Joe, is I lost all of my identity. Like I was a business owner and now I didn't have anything to manage. So it was like, okay, well, I'm here now. What's next? And in the midst of fighting for my life, had to figure out who the heck I was again. And then bigger than that, what am I going to do? Well, because I sold my business, I was lucky enough to be able to buy a home in Florida and move down where it's sunny because Chicago in the winter is hard.
I know about that life. I'm from New York, so I get.
Oh my gosh, you know that, yeah. And so that I came down and I took a bunch of time to finish getting fully healthy. And then go, what do I really love about the last 2 decades of my life? And what I loved more than anything was helping people find out why they are here on this planet and what their businesses, if they choose to create them, what they were supposed to do and how to get the word out. And so becoming a business growth coach was so easy for me. I love going and sitting with owners and going, you had a dream. Let's make it come to fruition. And you hired great people. Let's make them thrive. Let's create an environment where the people who you trusted enough to hire can do the most amazing things for themselves, for you, for the business. And it's been wonderful. I mean, it really has. I absolutely love working with my clients. In the middle of all that, I wrote a book. We could talk about that later. But then the last time, this one's like the most anticlimactic of all the cancer things. I started to find these lumps and I was like, okay, well, this is just annoying. So I had to shift my mindset again. And this time, Joe, I'm like, you know what? Some people get eczema or have arthritis. My body just grows tumors. Like, it's just going to be fine. I'm like, I beat it 3 times. This time it's going to be a thing where, it's just going to be peaceful and easy. We will coexist together until my body stops growing tumors. And that's me.
Man, I mean, God bless you, number one, and congratulations on beating cancer, but also just not giving up on yourself. And this is a perfect example of what happens when you don't give up on yourself. And when you control your thoughts and realize that you control what goes on in your mind, you control that traffic that goes through, because it's a lot of traffic, but you control which way that traffic. And man, I'm grateful and honored again to share this platform with you, because I'm grateful that you're alive and that you didn't give up. So man, there's a lot to unpack there. So it's from what it sounded like in the story. It sounded like the third cancer was the one that hit you the hardest,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I want to get to that one in a minute, but I want to talk about the first one, because the first one is probably the one. If it, I'm not, I'm sure I can't. Let me not say probably. I don't want to speak for you, but what I would think would be the one that fucked with your mind maybe the most, because it's the first time you're experiencing that and thinking, oh shit, I got breast cancer at 35 years old.
Yeah.
What the fuck is my life going to look like? What am I going to do? Am I going to survive this? So what were the thoughts? I probably just named a couple of those, right?
You did.
What were some of the thoughts that were going through your mind in that moment when you first found out that you had cancer?
It was wild. And there's a small detail that I left out the first time. So I was married and was like, this is not the marriage for me, but we were better off as friends. So I opted to exit the marriage. My business turned 1 year old 2 days later, and I found out I had cancer 10 days later. So I was like, what just happened to my life? Right?
About adversity. Holy shit. Man, this is the perfect platform for that, right?
Yeah, you're right.
So what was that like, facing all of that adversity at one time?
Well, yeah, the good news, the good thing about having all those happen at the same time is, Joe, you cannot take any of them too seriously. Like, no kidding. I'd be sitting there and I'd be like, my ex would be doing something ridiculous on holding up a divorce. I'm like, I don't even have anything, and my business is a year old. Like, just go away. And then
Shoe fly shoe.
and then I'd start to stress about it, and I'd get a call from my doctor getting some bad news about cancer, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'd be in my head about that, and then my office manager would be like, Michelle, we need some new patients. Can you go do your thing and get us some more patients? Like, he just never could really wallow in anything, because the focus was just like ping, 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 ping all over the place.
Yeah. So being that it all happened at once was a blessing at the end of the day, because it didn't allow you to wallow in your thoughts, because you had so much going on at once.
Yeah.
And you kept pushing forward from it.
Yeah. It, I love what you just said. Like, a blessing in disguise, a blessing like without even knowing it. Isn't that everything we go through? Isn't that what your whole podcast is about? How actually the hardest stuff in our life is actually the biggest gifts. Like, it sucks going through it. It totally does. I'm not saying it doesn't. But when we find ourselves in that, have you ever had something hard happen and go after the time has passed to go, that was great,
Oh,
you know?
yeah. I couldn't agree with you more. I think that, and yeah, that's 1000% what this platform is all about. I mean, that was the reason I built this show, to show people who are watching, listening, that even in your worst times, there's a silver lining. There's something there that turns that L. It doesn't stand for loss. It stands for learning lesson, right?
Ooh, we like that.
And and you know, when you find that moment that shifts everything from that downtime in your life, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind for me for that is gratitude. You know, people always ask me, man, Joe, don't you regret, going through, drugs and alcohol? Don't you regret the past? And I'm like, man, you know what? Honestly, I don't have regrets like that. I actually say thank you to substance abuse for making me the man that I am today. Thank you to substance abuse for giving me this platform. Thank you to substance abuse for bringing me closer to God. Thank you for substance abuse for teaching me the difference between religion and spirituality and understanding that I had to build a relationship with my higher source, whether you call it God, the universe, the infinite intelligence, whatever you believe, but for helping me understand the power behind believing something greater than myself to help me unlock my fullest potential. Because without going through what I went through, none of this would be existing right now. So I'm so happy that you mentioned that for the audience to pick up on, because it's so true that, man, you're not a victim of your circumstances and conditions. Your past doesn't define you. You control your destiny. Not the shit you're going through in life. You as the person you are, because you're a spiritual being living a human experience, and you can do anything you put your mind to. And Michelle, your story is a perfect example of what that's about.
Mm, thank you. Yeah.
So, all right. So you didn't have time to wallow in that first term, is from what I'm understanding.
Yeah.
So what was it like the second? And let's talk about the second, and then we'll get to the third, because sounds like it was the most heart wrenching with everything that was going on. But what goes through your mind in the second one? Like, where was there self doubt? There's obviously worry. So what was going through the mind at that point?
Yeah. So that's that second time, my hair had just started growing back. So it wasn't much longer than yours. And, now I'm single, right? So my divorce finally was done. My business it had just turned 2 years old. So I'm on top of the world. And I like to do big, bold things. So I decided I was going to run the Chicago Half Marathon to celebrate. Be like, I beat cancer. Woo! And I did it, and it was wonderful. But then I know it's September, so December was when I found out I had cancer again. And I'm like, wait, no. I did everything right. I followed all the rules. I did the things. I did the organic, meditated. I followed the doctor's advice. I did everything. How is this possible? I was really healthy to start with. I was a marathon runner, and how, of all the people that I know, why me? Why this? Why now? And I just went into a lot of, like you said, doubt. Who am I? What am I supposed to be here? Why? And I get why people go into the victim mentality, because it's easier. You can go there, just don't stay there, because you will drown. You will drown. And I think I did a good job of navigating it. What I didn't do was really, really clear my feelings about it. So I still was very good about okay, I got to do this. But that feeling side of things, I'm going to put that in a box, and I'm going to put that in the closet, and they're just going to be fine over there. And I never really let myself grieve and go to that dark place. I'm really wow, this sucks. I just sort of did what I needed to do from the medical standpoint, but the spiritual side of things, dipped my toe in the water, but I never jumped in fully.
Oof, that man, that is so important. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because, a couple of things that you dropped there for the audience to pick up on. Number one, point of, it's okay to go into a mentality that drains the energy, because we all go through it, right? We all go through self-doubt. We all go through worry. We all go through, maybe the why is me thing for a moment. But as long as you don't live in that moment, as long as you don't stay stuck in those moments, and you shift yourself out, because it's about the reframe, right? Reframe the mindset and shift the paradigm. So it's so important because, man, there's times life's going to throw those curveballs. You're going to get knocked to your knees. It's about how you get up, not how hard you fall. And, when you stay in that negative mindset, you're not getting out of it if you stay there. You're going to keep yourself you keep yourself in that zone as long as you allow yourself to stay in the zone. Nothing, no circumstance, no condition is going to keep you there. You keep yourself there. And it's so important for people to realize that, man, it's okay to go through hard times, but be aware of how long you're staying in that moment. Be aware of, what you're putting yourself to. That awareness is so, so important. And that leads me to the other jewel that you dropped, which is taking that time to self-reflect, and how important that is to allow yourself to process your feelings and connect with that higher source of energy, and connect to that spiritual side. And people don't realize how important that is for anything you do in life, to make sure that you have that time to connect with the spiritual side, and be able to really, because you learn more about yourself in those moments.
Yeah. You never know how much you can actually go through until you're forced to go through it.
Yeah.
You never know how strong you actually are.
Right. Right. And here's the thing. Sometimes God's going to allow you to go through something to give you the strength to overcome whatever it is you have to overcome. You know what I mean? You're going to go through certain challenges intentionally to make you stronger, to make you wiser, to make you grow. And once you get through that tough time, what's on the other side? Oh man, that growth period it's just incredible. So I'm curious though, because I want to get into that third time, because this sounds like it was a lot from when you just shared your story. And what was that like to go through all those body changes that you experienced through that journey of that third time that you got the cancer?
Yeah, it was wild. So through 2020, when we were all at home, I'd go to work and then I was like, what I need to make sure I do is maintain my health. Like in this time of so little movement and being just there was so little movement was allowed. I was like, this is so important to me. So I would run and walk and do everything, all the things I needed to do. So early 2021, I was actually in a place where I was like, I'm almost in the best shape of my life. Like I was like pretty good. And then, like I said, this cough just started and it kept getting worse and worse and worse. Long story short, it took 6 months or so to diagnose. And I remember sitting in my oncologist office like it was today. And she was like, you have metastatic breast cancer. And she rattled off everywhere it was. My right upper lung had collapsed. There were cancer through the rest of it. My lymph nodes across my shoulders and down my sternum, in my humerus, all the way down my spine, in my sacrum, and both leg bones. And I just sat there in complete shock. And I just kept thinking over and over and over, like, people don't make it through this. People don't make it through this. You don't get to win against cancer when it's through your whole body. And I went, like, that next month was honestly kind of a blur because I was going through the motions of life without knowing like where I was going to be on the other side of it. I truly had not decided, am I going to live or die? And until someone makes that decision for themselves, you could have all the medicine and all the things and all the people, but that will to live has to come from inside. And once I figured that out and I decided I did want to live, because that was tough. Like, not being able to breathe. I was like, and I didn't know if I would ever get back to any semblance of health. I'm like, what if I forever won't be able to walk across the street without losing my breath? What if I'm never able to work out again or live a vibrant life like I had been? Now, I live downtown Chicago, so we're going to restaurant openings and club openings. We're doing all the things, living life. And suddenly that was all stripped away. And so it was like, do I want to live? Number one, which I came to the conclusion, yes, thankfully. Then would I be okay living exactly as I am? And it had to be yes. And then the next step was, okay, well, if I can maximize my health, what would I do? And how do I do it? And so I tapped into everyone smarter than me and was like, how do I survive this? And I gave up traditional medicine. I gave up the going to the hospital and taking the pharmaceutical drugs that they wanted to give me, because my life was miserable. In April of 2022, I had 2 functioning days, Joe. 2. Meaning like, and not like functioning like I went for a run. Like, I was able to get up, take a shower, go to work for a minute, make my food, and go to sleep. Like, that was a functioning day. And when I went to my oncologist and I told her, I'm like, listen, I'm like, I don't take this the wrong way. I'm not going to do anything brash. However, this is not a life worth living. And she and I were at odds a lot around a lot of things. And then when she pushed hard, I just said, I don't think this is for me. I think I'm going to figure out a different way, which was the biggest risk I had ever taken in my life. Joe, I literally was gambling with my life. If I do not make a change to something different, I will not be here, even if I want to be. And so I stopped all traditional medicine. I went 100% holistic, and I do not like it. That is not for the faint of heart. You will get backlash from every single person you know. You will get pushback, and you have to, your answers have to come inside from inside. So I don't want to, my purpose here is not to say, give up on everything. My purpose here is to be like, know yourself and know what you can do. And I believed there was a better way for me, and I took it. And that's why it was like, when I got to the other side and I was able to run again, God bless. Oh my gosh. I can get to the gym again. I can live a relatively normal life. I don't have the energy I had, but I'm also not 20 any longer. I'm not 30 anymore. So is it the 3 times of cancer, or, is it that actually I'm just getting older? I mean, we don't want to believe that. So I think getting through all of that, when I found more lumps after I've been clear for a little bit, now I'm like, whatever.
Yes, I love it, man. Love it, man. That and talk about what happens when you take a risk in your life. What's on the other side, man, is, man, those healthy risks really can take your life to the next level. This is a perfect example. You went against all the odds, and you went with what's inside of you, what was talking to you inside, and you said, you know what, I'm going to do this a different way. I'm going to do it my way. And talk about the success on that. What was the driving force that got you to go to that side? Because I know earlier you mentioned you didn't take the time to self-reflect, take the time to connect spiritually. What was different this time that got you to do that?
Well, I got walloped this time. I mean, and that's obviously a very complex term in medicine. No, I mean, Joe, And when I say I couldn't get up and walk across the room, I mean that in all sincerity. Like, I couldn't breathe. And so I didn't have the energy to have distractions. Like, there's almost only so much TV you can watch. So I was forced to sit in my feelings and what was really going on and the real big hardships of life that I never faced. And it was face those, handle those, or don't bother.
Yeah, I mean, and that goes with like reframing, right? Because you could have told yourself a different story, and you chose to create the story of your life. And when we make that decision to choose the story that we're going to tell ourselves, we're choosing what our life's going to look like. So I'm curious though, what are some of the limited beliefs that you had to crack through to get to the other side?
Um, am I worth it? Am I worthy of being on this planet? Am I worthy of getting the gift of another day, another breath?
And it's incredible how, you know, things we tell ourselves when we're going through struggle and people don't realize is that when you allow those beliefs hold you back, I mean, those beliefs to kind of control you, they hold you back in so many ways. And once we're able to break through that belief system, where we're able to overcome whatever it is that has been holding us back, overcome adversity, overcome loss, overcome whatever it is in our life. Because those beliefs hold us back for a long time. And some of them start from childhood, you know? But once you're able to really crack through those, we build a new belief system. And we also uncover core values. And those core values are what we lean into to get through these challenging times when they come up again, because life throws curveballs. I mean, look how many curveballs Michelle had to get knocked out the park. I mean, cancer alone was 4, not to mention the divorce, not to mention she went through one of those challenges during 2020. There was some kind of virus going around that put the world on hold. So yeah, there's a lot, right? But now these core values that get uncovered help you overcome challenges that come your way in life in general. So what are some of those core values that you uncovered along this journey?
Oh, I love that. I love that. Before I answer, do you have your core values? Will you share yours?
Yeah, absolutely. So spirituality is my first. My second is health. And my third one is going to be purpose.
I love that. Yeah, I had a core value exercise that I did one time, and I came up with trust. Trust God, trust myself, believe in who I am and what I'm here for, even when I don't understand. Just still trust. Love. Um, I think that leading with love, being love, is just there's no greater gift. And I had a mentor one time was like, you can't have love as a core value. And I was like, no, I can. And he was like, and he couldn't wrap his head around it. And the cool thing was we were going through this big program. It was probably, I think it was like a 9-month program. And about halfway through, he came to me and he was like, you are love. Like, I see now how love is your core value and is who you are, which made me feel amazing. And then compassion. We don't have to understand what everyone else is going through, and they'll never be able to understand what we're going through. But if you just go in with, I want to understand who you are, and if you just generally go into the world and with open eyes and open heart to be like, what's that person in front of us? What are they going through? I think the world would be a better place. And then the last one is joy. Because joy, right? I love being happy and your greatest strengths, your greatest weakness. When I was going through a lot of those tough times, I would just force myself into joy instead of feeling the hard stuff.
Oh, love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good because man, you choose what you go through, right? You could go through it the hard way and feel sorry for yourself and be all upset, or you could choose joy and and be joyful while you're going through the process to make the process not as difficult and be able to get through it easy. So man, that's so important. Man, core values are such a blessing, aren't they? When you start really aligning yourself with your core values. And I have like a top 20 core value list. And I have it like up on my wall for when I wake up in the morning, next to like my vision statements. And I'm big on visualization and manifesting my life. And I'm also big on, what's gotten me to where I am today. And core values is definitely something that got me to where I am today and continues to get me where I'm going in.
Yeah. I mean, I think they help us get ourselves into and out of all the best trouble.
Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. So Michelle, I'd love for you to share with the audience where they can find you and what you have going on now.
Yeah. So I wrote this book called Brave Shift, which is amazing. Um, Brave Shift, 30 mindset changes to transform your life.
Is that it right behind you? You have a there you go. Come on, show it. Show it. All right, awesome.
Yeah. So it's so good. Because you don't just need one tool in life, right? And to get all through all that stuff that we just talked about, I needed a bunch. So I wrote them all down. And because I am the true entrepreneur and I can't read a book from cover to cover, what I did was wrote it in a way that you can open to any chapter, read the chapter, and at the end of the chapter are a bunch of shift moves. And so you could pick it up, read any part of it, take what you want out of it, and go on. You could also read the whole thing, either one. It's like a choose your own adventure. You can find me on my website, which is just my name, which is complicated to spell, Michele with one L, and Kehrer is Kehrer. And go to michelekehrer.com and let's keep having this conversation. Send me a note. Like, I love chatting with people and just learning more about what they've gone through too, just like we're doing right here.
Yes, I love it. And share a hack with the audience because you mentioned that you're an entrepreneur and you don't read. You said something about not reading the book cover to cover, right?
Right.
So because no, there's a lot of us out there like that, right? Whether it's the entrepreneur gene, whether it's the ADHD that we get told from childhood gene, or whatever it may be. So what's the hacks you use, being that you don't read books cover to cover, that you're still able to gain the knowledge and be able to apply the material that you learn?
You alluded to it earlier, gratitude. When I am in my biggest funk, which is, right, like, I'll tell you what, don't write a book on mindset because the universe and God is going to test you to make sure you believe that. So I'll go through a funk and I'll be like, okay, just get outside into nature. And I just sort of like, I'm grateful for palm trees. I'm grateful for roses. I'm grateful for sunshine. Like, and just keep firing off gratitude until you believe it.
Yes. I love that. All right. And a few questions that I ask all my audience. I'm sorry. A few questions that I ask all my guests is when you hear the word purpose, what comes to mind?
Purpose,
Yes.
the reason to breathe.
Love that. And short, sweet, to the point, and so powerful. And the word reforge.
Reforge. Oh, My dad was a woodworker and iron worker, and I think it's so beautiful to take something raw and take away the parts and make it even more beautiful. And it's what we do in our lives, right? We get knocked down, we get a scar, we get a broken bone, we get a whatever. And it's like, it's up to us to reforge our own life every single day.
Amen to that, 100%. So, Michele, there's someone out there right now who's looking to reforge their life. They don't have the tools, know-how, any of it. And what's one piece of advice that you could give them?
When you can't do it yourself, make a call. Whether it's to your best friend, whether it's to someone like you, whether it's to someone like me, but make a call. Just be vulnerable to ask for help. And if the first answer is no, make another call. And keep making those calls until you get someone that believes in you as much as you believe in you.
Every no gets you closer to the yes anyway. Yeah.
Heck yeah. It's one of my things.
And Michele, what's one thing that the audience doesn't know about you that you enjoy doing for fun?
I love cooking. Oh my gosh, I love cooking so much. I'm like old school Italian. And so make my pasta from scratch, make my sauce from scratch, make my pizza from scratch. Like, I am not one of those like no carb girls. Like, I freaking love cooking.
Oh man, I love that. You're in Florida, right?
Yeah. You coming to visit? I'll cook for you.
I know. I'm going for dinner. Italian food is one of my weaknesses, man. So I love some Italian food. So Michele, what would you say to the young Michele if you could go back, give her one tip?
Just keep going. You're the brightest part of your life you've not even gotten to yet.
We'll give up. Love it. And again, I'm so grateful that you didn't give up on yourself. I'm grateful that you're still alive and you're here to share your story and give it back because, man, I think it's so important that people realize that our story, it doesn't belong to us. It belongs to the people out there that we can impact. When we hold our story inside, we're just being selfish. So thank you for being selfless and sharing your story with my audience. And thank you for coming on to the show.
It's really my pleasure. I appreciate you so much. The work you do is God's work, and I'm so grateful to know you. Thank you.
Appreciate that. I'm grateful to know you as well. And for all the listeners out there and people watching it on YouTube, however you're checking this out, don't forget, man, I'm going to ask you for the same favor I always ask. LFSS. Like, follow, subscribe, and share. Don't forget the share part because there's somebody out there right now who's looking to reforge their life, whether it's in their business, their finances, their health, their relationships, whatever domain of their life. And they don't have the tools. They don't have the know-hows. And you sharing this episode or past episodes, help them reforge their life. But don't forget to share. Stay productive, stay purposeful, and stay blessed, yo.
You've been listening to Reforge Your Life with your host, Joe Rivera. Make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. To learn more about Joe Rivera and how he can help you or your organization reforge your life and regain your place at the top, head on over to withjoerivera.com and follow Joe on all social platforms. The Reforge Your Life podcast was produced by Thrive Loud Productions. Thanks for listening.